Do you guys remember that piece of science fiction media about a strategically important planet with air too toxic for humans to survive? So they created genetically modified blue people that could survive there with built-in mind transferring technology? That's right, today we're talking about Rogue Trooper, the 2006 third-person cover shooter. Like both of the other titles I've covered, it was a game that we owned, but I never finished. I left a lot of games unfinished actually, probably because I wasn't very good at them at that age. Rogue Trooper is based off of the comic strip of the same name, which was published in the anthology series 2000 AD. Judge Dredd was the comic's most well-known series, before it was moved to its own magazine in 1990. The publishing rights of 2000 AD were purchased by game developer Rebellion Developments in 2000. The comic is a bit outside the scope of this video, but the game's story is adapted from the comics, with the same main characters. While doing my research, I also found out there's an animated Rogue Trooper movie in the works, and it's even supposed to come out this year. There's not a whole lot of information out right now, just a few stills and a cast list, but I'm still pretty excited to hear more about it. In 2006, Rebellion released Rogue Trooper for Windows PC, the PS2, and the Xbox. It got a Wii release in 2009, and a remaster for the 8th generation consoles and PC in 2017. You can get both versions on Steam still, and they sometimes go on pretty deep discounts. I bought and played the original PC version for 99 cents for the video. I didn't run into any issues with it, so if you're interested after watching this, you should totally go pick it up, or at least keep an eye out for a sale. Rogue Trooper is a third-person cover shooter. The most well-known analog is probably Gears of War. What sets cover shooters apart is that cover is more than just something you stand behind. It's interactable scenery that your character will stick to, and you can move along it or quickly poke out to shoot. They have a stronger focus on character placement and battlefield control than other shooters. In Rogue Trooper, you can blind fire from behind cover, but you can't aim it at all, and aren't going to hit the broadside of a barn doing it. Its real purpose is to force enemies into cover, giving you some breathing room to act. Rogue Trooper can sometimes feel a little bit floaty, like you and your actions don't have enough weight. On the other hand, when you're doing well, it is still satisfying. It's a bit hard to describe without putting the game in your hands, but overall, it's still controlled pretty well. The game starts with a strong intro cinematic, introducing the setting via a propaganda video.
The genetic infantrymen, corrupt products of degenerate Souther science. The enemy claims they are the ultimate soldiers, genetically created to wage war on New Earth. But we know the truth. These freaks, these genetic abominations, bred for death, able to breathe the poison air, able to survive in the toxic hell the Southers have made of New Earth, are nothing more than brightly colored targets for our snipers. Yes, know your enemy. Yes, destroy your enemy. Show no fear and we will conquer all. Through strength, through will, through purity, Nordland will prevail.
Rogue Trooper takes place on New Earth, a planet near a black hole, which can be used as a gateway to travel anywhere in the galaxy. Being so close to the black hole has made it a major strategic position. A vicious, never-ending war has been fought on the planet for 20 years, between the Norts and the Southers. The entire setting takes a lot from real historical conflicts, specifically the Second World War. Our soldier is even called a GI, which was a colloquial term for US Army soldiers in World War II. The Norts are heavily influenced by fascist Nazi Germany, while the Southers are democratic and resemble the Allied powers. 2 decades of powerful chemical warfare has rendered the planet too toxic for humans to survive there. A compromised breathing apparatus on New Earth would be lethal in seconds for a normal person. The Nort soldiers and their weaponry are all very industrial in their design. Huge machines of war, unpainted metal, and bare concrete. Their drill pods emerge from the ground, bristling with guns, with soldiers piling out of them. Massive tanks the size of buildings dominate entire battlefields. The Nort engineers definitely put function over form, and that function is brutality. We don't see a whole lot of the Southers or their tech, but what we do see is a bit more sophisticated in comparison. Their breathing equipment looks more like spacesuits, with big glass faceplates. In an attempt to end the stalemate, Souther scientists created the genetic infantrymen, or GIs for short. They're rapidly grown in cloning vats, beginning their combat training at only 18 months old. Each GI has a biochip implanted into the base of their skull that downloads their personality if they're killed, allowing to be recovered and eventually replanted into a new clone body. Their bodies are genetically designed to be able to survive the deadly atmosphere of New Earth without the awkward breathing suits, giving them a huge battlefield advantage over human soldiers. Our protagonist is a GI named Rogue, and the game begins with GIs preparing for their first mission. And we're introduced to Rogue's friends, our companions through the game. There's Gunner, the boisterous weapons guy, and a bit of a jokester. Bagman, the serious supply master. And Helm, the tech guy. His personality is a bit harder to nail down. He feels kind of like a middle ground between the other two. Banter between these characters is common during gameplay, and Helm's lines are usually the ones I like the most. The GIs strap into their drop pods, which don't even seal all the way, since the GIs can survive even in the upper atmosphere. Unfortunately, disaster strikes during their descent. The Norts were ready for the GIs' arrival. Most of the drop pods were shot out of the sky before they could even land. Rogue manages to meet up with Gunner, but they're quickly surrounded, and Gunner is killed while covering our back. Luckily, we're able to recover his biochip before it expires, and slot it into our gun. I like this next set piece. You can see a Blackmare tank menacing a handful of GIs, so you use a nearby mortar to destroy the gun turrets, allowing them to get past it. There's no danger here, and you're not even being shot at, but seeing the sheer size of the tank and how it dwarfs the soldiers near it is a nice visual. We regroup with Bagman and some other GIs and start clearing out some Nort positions. Unluckily for Bagman, the Norts are regrouping too.
Second lease of life. Lucky you were here.
Now we might be 0-2 for keeping our friends alive, but putting Bagman in our backpack has unlocked both crafting and micro mines. The mines can be either dropped behind you or scattered over a small area. It's good for running away or setting up traps for enemies, but the levels didn't feel designed in a way that warranted their use much. There were a couple indoor sections where I tried to use them, but the AI seems to get cold feet in confined spaces, and they won't try to get close. A crafting system was a bit of a surprise, even a rudimentary one like the one here. Dead bodies can be scavenged for scrap, and there are hidden scrap piles in every level. Scrap can be used to make and upgrade weapons and supplies. Enemies don't drop ammo, so crafting it is the only way to get more. I played on hard difficulty, and found myself almost always out of health and ammo for most of the game. It wasn't survival horror game level of supply scrounging, but there were a few times where I had to make a hard decision between making more ammo or more health. I will fully concede that I was not very diligent in my collection of the hidden scrap piles. My supply issues were more of a result of my gamer poo brain than poor balancing. Nowadays, my impression of crafting systems is that they're often tacked onto games that otherwise wouldn't really need them. But let's compare it to another third-person shooter game from the same time. Let's go with Ratchet & Clank. In both games, you kill enemies or explore, you get something, and then trade that something for supplies and upgrades. But their presentation couldn't be more different from each other. In Ratchet & Clank, getting bolts is a spectacle. Enemies and crates explode into showers of them, and they're automatically collected when you get close. They make a satisfying clinking noise when you get them too. It's more than just money, it's a reward. In Rogue Trooper, however, it's much more deliberate. You have to manually scavenge bodies, and you just get a small notification saying how much scrap you got. There are no other sources of ammo and health, so scrap is important. It's not a shiny reward, it's survival. Overall, I don't think the crafting system is super special, but it did introduce some tough decision making when supplies were low. After Bagman's death, Millicom orders a full retreat. We're supposed to make our way to the Orange Sea coast for extraction. On the way there, we rendezvous with Helm, and before long we've reached the extraction point. There's a Nort hell cannon preventing the rescue craft from reaching the shore, so Rogue is sent to disable it while the other GIs wait. Once it's destroyed, the boats approach the coast, but it's another trap. Rogue can only watch as the few remaining GIs, Helm included, are gunned down in the shallow water. Surprisingly, Helm survives and is captured by the Norts. Someone named Natashov wanted a GI taken alive. Helm manages to get a message through to us. He's being taken to a naval base to the south. Rogue disregards his retreat orders and heads to the base to rescue Helm. In this section, we're introduced to stealth mechanics. You can crouch to sneak up on enemies and silently kill them. Stealth-killed enemies give you more scrap when they're salvaged. Enemies aren't super smart, and they'll lose track of you pretty easily. Meanwhile, in Natashov's lab, she's experimenting on Helm with lethal toxins. GIs are supposed to be immune to any kind of poison, but that hasn't stopped her from trying. The Norts know we're here now, and there's a whole shipyard between us and Helm. They bring out a new enemy type, a power-armored Nort. Right now, with our arsenal, we can only kill them by hitting them with a scrambler grenade to stun them, then shoot them while they're vulnerable. I was expecting a boss fight with Natashov at the end of the section, but surprisingly there wasn't one. Rogue just kills her in the cutscene. I think it was supposed to be badass, but the way it just cuts from him smiling with the knife to Natashov's body falling felt almost comedic. We found Helm, but Natashov managed to find a poison that works on GIs. It's too late for him, so we put his biochip in our helmet slot. We've got the whole gang together, and it's obvious someone from Millicom tipped off the Norts. It's never really explained in the game what exactly Millicom is. They created the GIs and give them orders, but the way the characters talk about it, it seems like it's a separate entity from the Souther government. I ended up looking up what it is in the comics, and it's an artificial planet hidden somewhere in deep space. It's the main headquarters of the Souther military, and where the GIs were created. At any rate, someone from Millicom betrayed us, and we're AWOL, so that means Millicom is hunting us too. We do have a lead though. Before he died, Helm heard someone mention a Grand Admiral Hoffa. To find him, we'll need to do some information gathering first. This area has some interesting set pieces, like the big open area that introduces sniper enemies, and an animal pen that you can open to release the animals, which attack the Norts after escaping. This level also has my favorite bit of banter between the biochips.
Hey, voila! How come you only opened the door after we picked you up? You'd leave me behind. No!
After hacking the main console of the base, we learn that Hoffa will be in the city of New Paris for an important meeting. New Paris is a nighttime battle through dense urban streets and military checkpoints. At first I was a bit disappointed that this level was entirely outside, but luckily there's a good bit of indoor combat in a later stage. This level also introduces a few new enemies, notably the EMP troops, who will occasionally disable your HUD and the biochips. Hearing them complain about it every time got pretty grating. It was almost more annoying than the HUD disruption.
I'm not going through that again.
Luckily, they aren't super common after this level, and they're pretty easy to spot. It also introduces the bigger Nort armored trooper. You fight them the same way you do the smaller ones. They're just bigger and more deadly. The meeting is taking place at a cathedral, and we get to see what goes down at the meeting before we get there.
Congratulations, my friend. Thanks to the information you provided, the massacre of the GIs in the Quart Zone has been almost a 100% success.
Your praise is appreciated, Grand Admiral Hoffa, as is your fine Norland brandy. But what I really want from you is the payment I was promised.
Full payment will be received once we can confirm that all the GIs have been eliminated. According to some reports, it's possible at least one of them may have survived. What's happening? Seal the building! What's happening? Answer me!
Your men are dead, Admiral, and I'm afraid our arrangement has changed.
What are you talking about?
I can't allow that my identity could be discovered.
No! Help me.
Help you? The scum who murdered our buddies?
I gave the orders, but the information came from one of your own.
A traitor? Who? Tell me, and I won't kill you. I said I wouldn't kill you. I didn't say anything about helping you live.
The traitor! He's escaping!
Helm, you're driving.
This cutscene leads straight into an on-rails helicopter shooter section. Oh, sorry, this is sci-fi, so we can't call them helicopters, so they're called hoppas. Levels like these were pretty common for games from that era, and they're pretty divisive. My opinion of them is that, at best, they're usually just fine. They have the tendency to be either way too long or extremely difficult. Usually both. This level breaks up into two, with an on-foot section in the middle, which was greatly appreciated. It also wasn't too difficult either, even playing on hard. I got to pretty low health, but that's only because you can actually shoot and damage your own hoppa if you aim up at the wing. Eventually the traitor crashes in a fiery explosion. In the wreckage we find scraps of a Souther uniform, proving Rogue's suspicions that it was one of their own that sold them out. The level ends with a reveal that there's a female GI following Rogue.
Let's find more things for me to fly.
Don't hoppas have autopilot?
Yeah, but I didn't use that.
The traitor general made it to a nearby Nord base and barely survived. He's badly burned, but luckily for him, they think that Rogue was the one who killed Grand Admiral Hoffa. He's vital to the upcoming assault on New Atlanta, so they make preparations to transport him out of there. We break into the base he was at, but it's a trap. We do finally get a good look at the traitor general, and he is gross.
You want to see the face of the man who betrayed you, G.I. Here it is. Do you like the new face you have given me?
Also, how can he breathe just fine on New Earth now? I guess that's just the rule of cool in action here. Before long, we're rescued by the GI from earlier. Her name's Venus, and she was sent by Colonel Covert, a Souther commander, to back us up. The Norts took our gun, which means they've also got Gunner, so rescuing him is our first priority. We have to fight through a short section using only our pistol, and when we find Gunner, the Nort that has him removes the biochip and tosses it on the ground. We only have 60 seconds to get it before he dies. I just ran past everyone and grabbed him. Venus covers our escape so we can get to New Atlanta and stop the traitor before the city falls. On our way there, Colonel Covert contacts us and tells us that he wants to take down the traitor, and that if we'll help, he'll do his best to help us after. Rogue doesn't trust him, but takes the deal. Meanwhile, the traitor general is tasking a super elite sniper with making sure Rogue is taken care of. A Souther troop transport goes down nearby, so we go over to help the survivors. They peg us as the fugitive, but Rogue tells them that his grudge is with Millicom, not them. They agree to come with us without much convincing, and I don't blame them. When you're trapped in a war zone with limited oxygen supply, you take whatever help you can get. For the next few levels, there are actually a few Southers following us around, which is nice. They're not overpowered, and they die pretty easily, but I like having allies in games like this. It makes the world feel more alive, like you aren't the only person in the whole world. Our goal right now is to help Souther troops evacuate by mag train. The next level starts on the train, and you have to defend it using side-mounted machine guns and a flak cannon. I wouldn't say it's technically an on-rails shooter like the Hoppa Chase, since you have more freedom to move around, but it does occupy the same brain space. I had a good enough time with it, but I don't think it would be very fun to replay. At the end, the Nords blow up a bridge and the train careens into a deep crevice. The next level is the Petrified Forest, and it's got a lot of snipers and a decent amount of verticality. At one point you go up a ledge and double back above an area you've already been to before. This level ends with a battle with the elite sniper from before. The fight itself was pretty easy, but I do like how the fight starts with the sniper almost taking Rogue out, but Bagman notices the shot coming and uses his robot arm to deflect it. But uh-oh, looks like he survived. Eventually we make it to Harpo's Ferry, an important area in the defense of New Atlanta. This is the level with an extended indoor section, and I'm glad it's here. Near the end of the level, the sniper makes his reappearance, but this time he's got bullets laced with the toxin used to kill Helm. But with Venus's help, we kill him for good this time. Speaking of killing for good, it's time for the final boss fight with the traitor general. He's sitting behind a force field, and we have to hack 3 consoles to destroy it, all while a constant stream of enemies harass us. In the final cutscene, Rogue pursues him into the building. Before he can finish him off, a huge Souther airstrike hits the building, and the both of them are buried under the rubble. Colonel Covert shows up, and they begin searching the rubble, but Rogue has already dug himself out. Covert says that the traitor had to be killed at all costs, Rogue included. He offers to have the charges against Rogue dropped, and have new bodies cloned for his friends. They disagree, and Rogue gets into a Hoppa and rides off into the sunset.
was useful once. It might be useful again.
Except, of course, they have to reveal that the traitor general survived the bombing, because of course he would. I had a really hard time writing the script for this one. I don't think Rogue Trooper is bad by any means. I did have fun with it, but at the end of the day, it really was just fine. This could be the part where I put on my game design glasses and pontificate on where did Rogue Trooper go wrong, or nitpick on things like game feel or pacing. But I think that would be disingenuous on my part. A video game, like all media, is art. And like all art, sometimes it's just missing something. You can analyze it all you want, pick out all the details, but sometimes projects just fall flat, and that's okay. It's important to me that I keep these videos positive. I think every game has good moments, and Rogue Trooper is no exception. I like the setting, and the GIs are a cool concept, and there are a few cool environments on New Earth. I'm glad I played through Rogue Trooper again, but I don't see myself doing another playthrough anytime soon. Thanks for watching. If there are any games you think I should cover, please leave them in a comment for me. I'm trying to focus on the games that I played when I was younger, and the ones that are more obscure, but there are only so many that fit that criteria. I don't think I could make a very compelling video about games like Wave Rally or ESPN International Winter Sports 2002, so I'm open to suggestions. So, until then, I'll see you on the radio.
Front door! Hang on.